But yesterday we started off with heavy rain and some really strong wind gusts here and there. But I think folks were happy because at the end of the day at night, we got a break, and we have a break, this morning going to the early afternoon, but we know we have more rain to come.
Christmas in California is usually defined by clear skies, quiet mornings, and families gathering in warmth and light. But this year, celebration was drowned out by something far more ominous. Sunshine gave way to relentless rain, and festive streets transformed into rivers of chaos. Across Southern California, powerful winter storms struck during the Christmas holiday, fueled by a rare and dangerous convergence of atmospheric rivers. Homes flooded, power grids failed, and emergency crews were pushed to their limits. Authorities would later confirm this was one of the wettest Christmas periods the region had seen in years. As dawn broke over the coastal ranges, the sound that filled the air wasn't laughter or music. It was rain. Not a gentle drizzle, but an unbroken deluge, pounding rooftops and flooding roadways. While many families unwrapped gifts, others faced the unthinkable. Water pouring into living rooms, power lines sagging across streets, and rescue helicopters circling overhead. In less than 72 hours, 3 major atmospheric rivers swept across California, dumping a month's worth of rainfall in just days. What began as a storm quickly became a statewide emergency. Chapter 1. A triple atmospheric river event. The crisis began quietly, with a weather alert that few fully understood. Meteorologists warned of 3 atmospheric rivers forming over the Pacific Ocean, massive corridors of moisture carrying tropical water vapor toward land. California had seen such systems before, but rarely in such rapid succession, and rarely this late in the season. As residents scrambled to prepare, the first wave of rain struck hard. Streets flooded, hillsides soaked. By the second night, rivers overflowed their banks. By the third, entire communities braced for impacts that forecasters struggled to predict. Normally, soil and waterways have time to recover between storms. This time, there was no pause. Each system arrived before the last had dissipated, layering rain upon already saturated ground. The result was inevitable: widespread flooding, landslides, and infrastructure failure. Winds howled with gusts exceeding 40 miles per hour. Rain fell in sheets. What might have been considered a severe storm under normal circumstances became something unprecedented. Chapter 2. Wrightwood's Nightmare. In the mountain community of Wrightwood, the storm evolved from dangerous to catastrophic. What started as a winter rainfall quickly turned into a waking nightmare as mud and debris surged through neighborhoods. Entire streets vanished beneath waves of sludge and rock. Cars were submerged, homes were overwhelmed. Escape routes, once mapped as safe, were overtaken by rising water and flowing mud within minutes. Emergency calls flooded dispatch centers. Radios crackled non-stop as rescue crews raced against time. As floodwaters continued to rise, ground rescues became impossible. Helicopters took over, lifting families from rooftops while the storm still raged. Crowds huddled together in freezing rain, waiting for help from above. For many, survival came down to timing and chance. Whether a helicopter could reach them before water did. Chapter 3. Rescues from the sky. Sirens were soon drowned out by the relentless drone of helicopter rotors. From San Bernardino County to remote mountain towns, emergency lights flashed through sheets of rain as crews worked around the clock. At least 100 rooftop rescues were confirmed. Families clung together as floodwaters rose beneath them, with no escape except through the air. Streets turned into fast-moving rivers. Cars and ambulances were abandoned as conditions worsened. Every minute mattered. In some cases, rescue arrived just in time. In others, residents were forced to make impossible decisions, whether to flee through rising currents or wait and hope for air support. Each successful rescue brought relief, but also haunting questions. How many didn't receive warnings in time? How many survived simply because they reached higher ground? Chapter 4. When water became earth. Just after midnight, the disaster shifted again. Emergency radios lit up with new alerts. Landslides and debris flows tearing through Wrightwood and nearby areas. Fire-scarred slopes, stripped of vegetation by recent wildfires, had lost their natural defenses. Days of rain saturated weakened soil. Gravity did the rest. Mud and rocks cascaded downhill in seconds, buckling foundations and wiping out roads. These weren't slow-moving landslides, but violent torrents capable of destroying everything in their path. Geologists warned that ancient landslide zones, stable for generations, can suddenly reactivate during extreme storms. Homes and highways caught in their paths had only moments to respond. Chapter 5. San Bernardino. Under siege. From above, San Bernardino County looked unrecognizable. Entire neighborhoods appeared swallowed by the swelling Santa Ana River. Cars floated away. Homes sat half submerged. Helicopter footage showed children lifted to safety. Families clutching pets and treasured belongings. In some areas, more than 2.5 inches of rain fell in just 4 days. On already saturated ground, even moderate rainfall proved devastating. Flood defenses designed for historical averages were stretched to their limits. Neighbors formed human chains to help the elderly escape. First responders waded through dangerous currents, sometimes using boats where roads once existed. Recovery would be slow. With more storms threatening, the question remained: could the next system be stopped before defenses failed completely? Chapter 6. Climate extremes and atmospheric rivers. Atmospheric rivers were once considered seasonal events, sometimes even beneficial. But recent years have rewritten that understanding. A warmer Pacific Ocean now feeds more moisture into the atmosphere, intensifying storms and allowing them to arrive in clusters rather than isolation. This year's storms didn't simply pass through. They recharged offshore and returned. Meteorologists watched as the jet stream bent farther south, pulling even more moisture toward California. Standard weather models struggled to predict the persistence and scale of the event. What happens when the engine driving these storms grows hotter every year? Scientists warn that events once labeled rare may soon become common. Chapter 7. Fault lines and flooded power. As rescue efforts continued, another threat emerged. Small earthquakes, microquakes, shook regions already battered by water. Heavy rainfall can seep into deep rock fractures, lubricating fault lines and lowering the threshold for movement. While these tremors were minor, their ability to trigger landslides or further destabilize weakened ground was real. Meanwhile, power outages spread quietly. Substations flooded. Power lines fell. At the peak of the storm, nearly 500,000 residents lost electricity. Without power, communication failed. Alerts didn't reach everyone. Medical equipment shut down. Rescue coordination faltered. The storm exposed a critical vulnerability. Modern infrastructure cannot always withstand compounded extremes. Chapter 8. Burn scars and failed warnings. Floodwaters followed an unnerving blueprint. Paths carved by past wildfires. Burn scars left soil exposed and unable to absorb rain, turning hillsides into flood channels. Despite evacuation alerts, many residents didn't leave. Some never received warnings. Others underestimated the danger due to past false alarms. Holiday timing worsened the situation. Stressed cell towers failed. Alert fatigue dulled urgency. The gap between warnings sent and actions taken highlighted a deeper challenge: communicating real danger in a world overwhelmed by constant alerts. Chapter 9. A Future. Redrawn. As waters receded, cleanup began. Mud-filled streets were cleared, shelters filled, losses were counted. But beyond statistics lay stories of courage, sacrifice, and community. Neighbors helping neighbors. Rescuers risking everything. California now faces a new reality. Atmospheric rivers arrive in clusters. The margin between safety and disaster is shrinking. Earthquakes, fires, storms, once separate risks, are now intertwined. Adapting is no longer optional. Infrastructure must evolve. Communities must rethink preparedness. Uncertainty is now the constant. As California rebuilds, one lesson stands clear. Survival in this new era depends on resilience, awareness, and collective action. If you found this breakdown valuable, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. It helps bring awareness to real-world disasters shaping our future and ensures you don't miss the next deep dive. Stay informed. Stay prepared.